So I'm so excited, Matt, that you've agreed to talk to me today. I know we've been planning this for a while, but I want to introduce you, Matt. Matt, we go way back from our Zappos days when we
Hmm.
were together. And then I moved to Hawaii, and you're from Hawaii
Yes.
originally. And then you somewhat recently moved back,
Yep.
and then got reconnected. And you when we spoke a couple weeks ago, you shared with me a story that really bothered me, because I just can't believe that it was happening here in Hawaii and happening to somebody um, that I know. So I wanted to take this opportunity to record this and ask you what happened so that we can share that information to other businesses and to really explain like what's going on and how to be more vigilant about these kinds of things. So why don't you kick it off, Matt, and tell us what happened?
So we essentially got caught in a phishing scheme. So the company that I'm kind of helping out here locally uh, does a lot of what they call ACH payments. So ACH is automatic clearinghouse, and those are essentially a bank transfer, a wire transfer, but done in a bulk setting. And so what had happened was a company that we were working with in Canada had asked for payment. We'd send the payment, and they hadn't received it yet. So they were asking for status on the payment. And literally, the short of it is they emailed us. We, within 2 hours of us emailing them saying, here's the check numbers and it's in the mail, somehow that email got intercepted, got rerouted to some hacker. They then responded in 2 hours with a fake ACH number, fake letterhead of that company, and it is like to the T, like where they pulled the letterhead off the company, created a secondary ACH number, sent it to us, and we sent the money out. So we were out 130 plus $1,000 for a good time there, and we thankfully we got it back, but it took a lot of effort. And there's so many things when you talk about phishing that you have to look at. And the biggest thing on these were looking at the email address, right? And seeing really what, if that email address matches up with who you're sending it to. So in this case, it was the word fisheries in the email address, and they just transposed the R and the I, or the I and the E, I'm sorry. So that, sorry, I'm having, on my screen, I have some text message coming up. But yeah, so that really was disturbing. It was also disturbing that an unnamed bank in Hawaii literally said, it's our fault and you just need to learn from your mistakes. But when I persisted and when I actually asked for them to investigate it, we actually got the money back, right? So it's a really good thing. The other thing that you don't know about is,
Hold on,
as we were talking about this, oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
before you continue there, I, I is it okay to mention that you got the extra help because you had connections in that bank,
Yes,
right?
that
Because
was pretty much the only way that we would have gotten the help, because the private banker that was assigned to this company's account literally said, well, it's a learning experience. And I said, it's 130 plus $1,000 learning experience. And he goes,
yeah,
these are
that was
small businesses, right?
that's awful. I know. And then when you told me, like, thank goodness you had connections at that bank with a relative in a high place, because
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't have been able to do anything. So that's why I worry about other companies that don't have those connections. What would happen to them?
Right.
So yeah, that just like upsets me so much. So tell me about the other thing.
So literally when I was telling you this story, which was post incident by about a month, um, we got another one literally that same day you were talking to me, and got an email saying, hey, what was it? You need to send us payment for this, this, and this. And when I look at it and there's an advertising payment of $60,000, we don't advertise. Who, like, seriously? no, that's not even going to happen. And so again, I looked at that, and in this case, it was again, they didn't spoof the email address as well this time, but your customers should also realize that they can change the name. So the name can be the legitimate person. It can look like their email address, but when you click into the detail, that's when you see the email address doesn't correlate to that person's email address.
Yeah,
So again, they
absolutely.
tried to get another, 60K. And this time I was going to play the game with them because I caught it beforehand. But it was,
Awful.
they caught wind of it and kind of bounced. So yeah, I mean, happening a lot.
And so what steps did you take? So with the bank, okay, you escalated that and everything, but did you go to the FBI? Like what was the process?
On that first one, I went to both FBI and HPD. Uh,
Okay.
FBI, I was only able to leave a message on an answering machine and I got no call back. HPD, I actually got an officer. He assigned a case. And then when I tried to follow up, they said there was no case and there was no file. And so they were also kind of playing a game. And so because of all that, I just went my own route and did the investigation with the bank on the mainland.
Oh wow. And did anything come from that investigation?
Well, we did, they, thankfully, the people who set up that fake ACH must have mistyped, and we were very, very lucky. So that money did go to the mainland. It was a Citibank on the mainland. And then Citibank couldn't actually distribute the funds because it was, they must have keyed in the wrong account. So by the slimmest of luck, that money was just sitting there hovering in Citibank on the mainland.
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome that at least it didn't get to the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. I've told your story multiple times. Just having people be more vigilant
Mhm.
and look out, just even more, right? Because that whole thing that you said with transposing the I and the E. I mean, if you're not
It's
looking,
so hard. That was hard to see.
crazy.
Right. And I mean, the other, if you want other details, we could talk about it later, but literally they are putting, so they put a redirect. So we actually had to stop all of our webmail
Oh,
because when they hacked us the second time, so the first time they didn't hack us,
okay.
the other company was hacked. The second time they tried to hack us, and they're they get into the webmail and they start doing a redirect. So when a email comes from a certain person to me, that redirect will then, before it even gets to my inbox, it redirects it out to that other party. So I would never get that email.
No.
So I was looking at all the different people who were supposed to be in these emails, looking at our email logs through our IT services on
Mhm.
both ends, and finding out where it is. And one of them is a password reset request email. And I did see this email yesterday, and someone asked me if they could click on it, if they needed to click on it to change their password. Anytime anyone says change password via email, don't, just, just don't do it.
Yeah, that was I had another interview today with somebody with a similar situation, and one of the things that we said is it's training. Like, so we use different type of phishing simulations to train employees, and I think that that's key in training people to not to click on certain things.
Mhm.
And even
I
then with
mean,
that, sometimes they still fall for it.
and this is a big company thing too, right? So, I mean, even at Amazon and Grubhub and Booking,
Mhm.
all these big companies that I've worked for, they actually do these tests. So they will, the companies will send a fake phishing email to all of their employees. And if you don't catch it, and if you actually click on and get baited on those emails, then you get sent to these lovely corporate training to see how to stop yourself from getting into a phishing scheme.
Yeah,
So they
which
do it on the big companies too,
oh
all the
but
time.
you do it at in a smaller, like for smaller companies as well. So that's what we always promote. It's just education, education, education. I think that's
Mhm.
for smaller companies. So, well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for telling your story, and I
no
really, really
problem.
taking your time. And it was good seeing you again.
Yeah, same here. Awesome. I'll see you in person soon. Let's see.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Matt. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye.